instigator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky thing. Poppin', lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop it.
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio on this Thursday, October 18th. And I will welcome all the viewers who are looking for something else to watch other than the Yankee game
collapse
as they are being swept away. Of course, we've seen big leads blown in recent history as recently as last week with the Washington Nationals. But I have a funny feeling this one is not going to go away. So anybody flipping the dial right now, looking for something else to watch than that collapse that is the evil empire
it's
crumbling.
Worst Yankee batting since 1980, from what I gathered.
Yes, awful. So we welcome you into the show. We're here for 30 minutes. 203-792-4101 is the number. You can call in if you'd like to vent your anger over the slumping Yankees and their woeful ways at the plate and all things that are just horrific about New York right now.
Wow.
Oh, ugly. 6-0 we mentioned as we come onto air in the fifth inning. 11 hits, 6 runs. CC you later, CC Sabathia and the New York Yankees season. Welcome to Sweepsville, population the Bronx.
Yes. Now we know how the Red Sox felt.
Oh boy. Hey, we don't need to talk about the Red Sox. This is about the Yankees right now, Bob. Let's say hello to Bob, who's trying to get a dig in on my team there, even though he's a Met fan. He should be joining in the jubilation.
Hey, the Mets.
I'm not taking shots at your Mets, Bob. I could take plenty of shots there if you like.
I know you could go deep with that, but.
So how's it going, Bob? Bob's been giddy in the studio as we've set up today, getting ready for the show. Keep running into the other room, checking the score. I could hear him yelling, "Oh, that's high, it's far, it's gone." Oh boy. All right, so Bob's show, of course we know, Spotlight on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, Wednesdays re-airs at noon. How was that special you had?
It went over great, thank you. Thank you for putting up online.
That is online, Spotlight on, you can find on Facebook. Search for Bob, search for his show, Spotlight on. Also, some of his Westerners Roundup shows have been appearing online on YouTube and Facebook. So you can look for those shows there. If you're interested in seeing what he has. And once again, the Skeleton Crew. Yes. Mr. Mike Toohey running things by himself in the studio. And of course, his show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 10, Wednesdays at 1. You know, I was tuning into Expose Cinema recently, Bob. And it was very interesting. I can't remember exactly what the topic was, but it looked good, I will say that much. And I was enthralled for a little bit while I watched. And so check him out. He does have good programming and lots of it. Friday nights at 10, Wednesdays at 1. I'm sure by now Fatty Roots is in the background. And of course, we haven't said hello to Dick Lexus in a while, but he's still running things with the opening theme song. So let's get right into it. Actually, before we get into baseball, I just quickly want to get college football out of the way. But wait. Bob is all excited
go ahead. Go college football first. Get that.
All right, we'll get that out of the way quick. UConn, we're starting to lose interest in the Huskies. We've done this before where we've said enough is enough.
Right.
We're tired of them, and then they've responded. I don't know if this team's going to respond, but 4 missed field goals, blew a lead late to Temple, suffered a really brutal loss in overtime, 17-14 to the Owls on Saturday afternoon up there at the Wrench. How's that grassroots movement going? The Wrench, not the Rent, the Wrench. They put a wrench in the plans, the Owls did, that's for sure. The win-loss thing did not continue. They didn't get back-to-back wins, so they're actually still on the win-loss thing. So not good situation there. They get Syracuse this weekend. Are we having problems with the photos? Well, we'll survive without photos. You have to look at me. If we can't get the photos up, really? Well, that's all right. It's not going to happen. We'll survive without the pictures. We'll just do what we can do and spare. We'll unfortunately get to look at my mug all night long.
Oh, that's all right.
But anyways, so UConn does suffer that loss. They get Syracuse this weekend. But the other thing in college I did want to mention, Notre Dame. We're going to have to continue watching Notre Dame because now they're starting to get calls, Bob. as they got lucky against Stanford in overtime. Stanford scored on third down. They called it no touchdown. They scored again on fourth down in overtime, and they called it no touchdown. And the Irish come away with the win, and they moved to number 5 in the standings. So now the Irish are starting to get calls, Bob, so we might have to keep our eye on them. They play BYU this weekend. West Virginia and the Heisman drive by Geno Smith stalled big time this weekend. They got drubbed, so they drop. Geno Smith might still be the front runner, but he did have a terrible showing. They get Kansas State, who remains undefeated, and they are number 4, I believe, and they play them this weekend, so they could knock them off the map. And Florida now moves to number 3 as South Carolina lost a tough one to LSU. South Carolina plays Florida this week, so they could knock them off. Oregon remains undefeated. Bama, of course, number 1. But we're starting to look at a situation where maybe the one-loss teams start circling back around into the mix. So that's what's going on in college football.
Well, on local college football, I just want to mention.
What happened?
WestCon. I mean, their collapse is still going. It's
they did.
0-27 now, but they lost to Brockport 34-33. But with 32 seconds left to go in the clock.
They what?
Yeah, they scored. The other team scored.
The other team scored a touchdown or a field goal.
Yeah, and it was the 2 last place teams playing each other. So
there was their big chance to end the streak. They had the lead
and
late.
It was homecoming too.
Homecoming game, and they cannot get it done. Heartbreak for the Colonials. Oh my God!
But hopefully things will turn around next year because they're getting out of NIJAC conference, so things may be changing.
Oh, they're changing conferences.
Yes.
Really interesting. All right. Well, they had their chance, but the streak continues. Losing streak, not a good one. All right. So other local sports, Bob wants to get in, and we got to be quick and pick this up. The Whalers season begins
next
Thursday. Against Williamsport.
Yes, it does.
And it is at home that they begin there.
Yes.
And what are the special events coming up before then? Anything?
Well, tonight they're at Buffalo Wild Wings, so you can meet the whole Whaler team. That's including the coach tonight from 7 to 9. But they're having a scrimmage this Saturday, I believe, down in West Haven.
Okay.
And
East Haven, I think.
East Haven,
yeah. I saw that.
And then the season starts next week.
All right, so the season is underway.
Yep.
NHL has not gotten their act together, but the Whalers are back in action. The
So you
FHL.
can come on down and watch the Whalers if you can't go watch the NHL.
That's
it's
right.
local. It's close by. It's
It's a good time.
And
we know the Whaler fans support extremely well, so I'm sure that the arena will be filling up. And we'll see how that season goes. Of course, they made it to the FHL Cup championship round last year. It came up short, but coming off a good season and a good late run they made, and they really got things going. So we'll see if they can.
Williamsport is the New Jersey team, so New Jersey team. So we'll see what happens out there. And now all their games are going to be playing outside in a minor league stadium.
That's exciting. Maybe we should take a road trip down and see that.
It's like a 4-hour ride.
Jersey? No,
Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Oh, the Jersey team is playing in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Oh, I got you. All right. Pennsylvania outdoors. It's going to be some cold nights.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty interesting.
And if we have a warm winter like we had last year.
Yeah, right. I wonder if the ice will freeze for them. All right, let's move it along.
Okay.
Maybe we can get another score update, but probably nothing changing there. 6-0 was the score. The Yankees, Bob. What has happened to the Bronx Bombers turned Bummers, evil empire, collapsing right before our eyes?
And of course, I'm making all the money and throwing balls into the stadium.
A-Rod turns into Pinch Rod, turns into Bench Rod. Now they're turning him into Trade Rod.
Yeah.
He goes from being pinch hit for, which worked out well initially. Then they continue to pinch hit for him. That didn't work out well.
So now
then they bench him. And now, of course, here comes the talk. Trade rumors to Miami. He will be gone. And they seem to have worked out the glitches in the studios. We got some images coming back into the show. Very nice. So unbelievable. And really, it's crazy when you consider what took place. Because here we see Jeter and the injury. And this was terrible for the Yankees. I mean, really, if Ibanez didn't hit another dramatic home run, maybe Jeter wouldn't have got hurt. If they just took the loss and in the regular, before going to extra innings, they could have got out of there. Nobody would have got hurt.
Right.
But Jeter goes down, and A-Rod's there on the bench, and then they continue now with Jeter depleted.
Bottom of sixth. Bottom of the fifth.
Bottom five, still 6-0. With Jeter and the depleted lineup and with the other guys struggling, they still go ahead and bench A-Rod. So you know that this is an organizational thing. You know they're looking to move in another direction. He's got 5 years left on this contract, over $100 million due to him.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to pay somebody to take him.
Well, Miami's got the money, supposedly.
Well, it's not even going to matter. The Yankees are going to have to pay 80% of this contract, at least you would think. Who's going to take that contract? Nobody's going to take it and pay it. Somebody else is going to have to pay for him. They're going to have to pay somebody else to let him play somewhere else because he is not returning. This is over. So it's going to be, the whole thing is going to be written. He had one season where he came through in the big spot in the postseason, and that happened to be the only season where he was connected to that blood-spinning HGH doctor from Canada. Yes, I am on record. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Yes.
The only time he came up big was when he was linked to the HGH doctor.
Yeah.
So, let's put 2 and 2 together.
And he was out this year with a hip injury.
He's been banged up. He's hurt. He's not the same player. He strikes out every time he comes to bat, just like Granderson does. Cano does the same thing. Swisher, the sensitive one, we find out Mr. Nick Swisher, Swishalicious, has turned into Swisher sensitive, crying about some of the comments. Did you see this, Bob? He's got to run himself out of town as well.
Oh, yeah?
He's crying about the Yankee fans yelling at him for his poor play and that huge error he made in the extra innings. And, he let that ball go through and they lost. And he says, I'm sensitive. Can the Yankee fan go a little nicer on me? I don't like being called out by the Yankee fan. I'm a little sensitive. Nick Switcher, give me a break.
Back at the stadium.
Granderson's been a joke. Cano set the record for consecutive at-bats without a hit.
27 or
0 for 27, a major league playoff record. I mean, come on. The whole team has been horrible. If it wasn't for Ibanez in the 9th inning a few times, they wouldn't even got out of that Baltimore series. And then Joe Girardi, the gall of this guy, he blames the umps, not the slumps, for their loss in Game 2 and in Game 1, really, against the Tigers. They did blow a call there. Big deal. It happens. And guess what? Spare me this situation because the Yankees have made a living on getting calls over their entire tenure. Joe Girardi on record in 2010 when the Twins got jobbed on a call, clear fair ball that would have been a double, crucial play in the game. He comes on record after saying, no, I do not want instant replay. The games are already too long. Now, after they missed this call the other night, he says, we've got to get instant replay in the game. Nobody cried the other night when they had instant replay, and they still probably got it done in Game 5 against the Orioles. The Orioles in the Jeffrey Mayer situation, but this time it was a foul ball.
What about the Braves?
That game's a different series, same situation, but this Girardi thing reminded me of Joe Torre in '99 when he had the gall to say to Jimmy Williams, I lost all respect for you for causing a near riot, much like the Atlanta series the other night. Remember that series against the Red Sox in the ALCS in '99? 2 plays at the bag in 2 different games at crucial points of the game, where the games were either tied or one-run game, where it could have been going either way, were clearly safe plays where they called guys out, blown calls all the way. Jimmy Williams comes out and argues, and much like in that Atlanta game in the one-game playoff against the Cardinals, A riot basically ensues. The Fenway faithful throw stuff all over the field. And
Right.
Torrey, after the game, has the nerve to say, how dare him come out and argue the calls and almost cause a riot. When you're getting the calls, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
And when you've got the calls all this time, and you've said before that you don't think instant replay should have any part of the game, now you want it because there was a call? Give me a break, Joe Girardi. You're a weasel. And you've had all these breaks before, and you got all the money, and now it's all crumbling around you, and you are losing, and you're going out with no style, no class, no dignity, and you're benching your players when, so what? The guy's swinging and missing at everything. Who are you going to put in? Ride him to the end. Jeter's out. A-Rod needs to play in these games, and they're benching him. It's unbelievable what took place. The complete collapse.
A big sweep.
And it's going to end in a sweep, and the Yankees are done. Unreal situation. Can you tell that I got a little worked up about this?
I think you have a hatred for the Yankees.
It's all coming out. I mean, whatever.
You got vented, so now you feel better.
How fitting is it? CC ends it all. I mean, he comes through when they need him most, down 3-zip, and they need him to come up big, and he cannot get it done. Anybody out there wants to call and talk about this? 203.
It's still 6-0.
6-0. Still 7-9-2.
Still have a no-hitter going.
No-hitter is still intact. Unbelievable. This would be the most fitting way for the whole thing to end.
Yeah.
A no-hitter, a shutout, CC getting rocked, a sweep. Unbelievable. The Yankees collapsing right before our eyes in record-setting fashion. Just unbelievable situation. And in the National League, I mean, today, finally, the Tigers break out the bats, but really, in the American League, it's been no runs scored at all in the first round series and the second round series, so we see a little offense finally here. The National League has been where it's at as far as compelling games and high drama and at least offensive being involved. And the Cardinals now...
they're doing great. I mean, Beltran, former
Beltran, but he got hurt last night. I don't know what his status is for tonight. But Beltran has played well for them, taking the place of
who's the other guy?
Pujols, Fat Albert, heading out west to Anaheim.
And they're sitting home watching the game.
Yeah, that's right. The Cardinals, big win last night, delayed game, big rain delay in the middle of the game, and they then held on to beat the Giants. That series, I think, still has a long ways to go.
Well, it's 2-1.
Little Timmy Lincecum goes on the mound there tonight.
You're right.
And the Giants still have great pitching, and their offense has been pretty good this year. I think that series is still up for grabs, even though Cardinals, the defending champs, the Redbirds, give them credit for their resiliency. I mean, what happened in the National Series? Tough break for the Nationals.
I was pulling for the Nationals so much because they get
the
so close to the Mets,
Jason Worth home run to force Game 5, the walk-off homer in a 2-1 game. And then they have a 6-0 lead in the crucial Game 5, and the Cardinals just peck away, ultimately scoring, 4 runs in the 9th inning to overcome the deficit and win to shock the Nationals and their faithful. Unbelievable. All right, we're running. We got 10 minutes left here.
So let's go on to
Let's shift gears to NFL. And we'll talk about Bob's Giants first before we get to my pitiful Patriots and their matchup against the Jets this weekend. But your G-men head west. They go out to San Francisco and they crush the Niners out there at the Candlestick Park. They could have lit up a candle for all those fans out there who were in mourning after that one. The Niners talked to trash before the weeks, during the week before the game, saying it was going to be revenge. They felt like they were the better team in the NFC Championship game, and they probably were. A fumble by Ahmad Bradshaw late in that game that the refs ruled was not a fumble would have had the Niners in the Super Bowl, not the G-Men, the luckiest team in the history of the NFL. But the G-Men set the record straight this year. Remember, last year, 2 games were outstanding between these 2 games. A regular season game, which I thought was maybe the best regular season game of the year, that the Niners won, and then the physical, hard-hitting, rain-drenched game in the championship game that the Giants win in overtime on the miscues by the Niners and the referees
Yes.
in that play.
I'll admit
but
that.
no physicality this time.
Right.
What is going on with San Francisco, Bob?
It's like they're falling apart.
This is a team that built itself on physical, hard-hitting, smash-mouth football last year.
And
now they're trying to spread things out. They got a bunch of new wide receivers, and they're going to this wildcat, and they're getting all finesse on us. What is that about? As the Giants went in there, completely out-physicaled them big time.
Oh, okay. We have Uncle Buck now in the control room.
Okay, Uncle Buck is in this control room. Did he hear my rant?
Yes. Yeah, he heard all the whole.
All right, Uncle Buck, and I think he sides with me on that sort of thing.
Oh, he said he burned his Red Sox cap last night.
Well, get that Red Sox cap, get a new one.
Yeah.
The Red Sox will be back. The Yankees will be tanking it just like the Red Sox.
Maybe Bobby V will be the Yankees' new coach.
Hey, maybe they fired Girardi, bring in Bobby V. It'll be
switch
great.
sides. We'll
trade A-Rod to the Red Sox.
No, and then Girardi can take over the Red Sox managerial.
No, I don't want Girardi, and I don't want A-Rod, and I don't want Swisher. I don't want any Yankee. Keep them. Let them all suffer. Let them win all their regular season games every year. Boring as, I mean, the Major League Baseball fans are tired of this. Yeah. The Yankees go to the playoffs every year because during the regular season, they got all the money, all the players. They're built to beat up on bad pitching. And then it comes to the playoffs. And, I'm hanging out with Fatty Roots, by the way, this weekend. Yeah. And he's like, I don't understand. A Yankee fan he is. Yes. And he's like, I don't get it. Why aren't they hitting in the postseason? I said, you got to look at the schedule. Yeah. Watch Sports Buzz. We broke it down, Bob. Yeah. They played Toronto, Minnesota, and Boston in the last week, and they barely got into the playoffs, and they barely beat up on them. So, when they're beating up on those guys, it doesn't mean anything. When you get to the postseason, there's good pitching, there's good teams you're facing, and they're going to beat you down again and again and again, and it's happening again and again and again. All right, football. We got sidetracked.
Uncle Buck says they were eating chicken and drinking beer in the clubhouse.
Oh, the Yankees are they? Well, maybe they're not doing that, but we do know one thing they're doing. They're hitting on the fans in the stands.
Yeah. A-Rod is anyway.
A-Rod's
He's
like, bench me, coach. Pinch hit for me so I can stay in the dugout and hit on the girls. I'll talk to the security guy, give her a ball, write my number on it, give it to an Australian, model or whatever that chick was.
Have her throw it back,
Get her digits. Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up,
No.
Bob. I mean, now we get all the information on this girl. I mean, they're releasing all that information. He's hitting on the girls. Unreal. This show has quickly turned into a baseball-only show. Yankee bashing session. And I got no problem with it.
No, you're venting. You're getting all your hostilities out, which is great.
203-792-4101. Fatty Roots sometimes watches the show. Maybe he'll call in and try to defend his team. I mean, we play his music for him. Call in sometime, Fatty Roots.
Yeah.
All right, he doesn't want to get involved in this. I do not think at all. All right, so your Giants. Impressive win. Now they got to deal with RG3, Bobby Griffin, Robert Griffin III. He had, interesting enough, if you remember, Michael Vick, when he broke onto the scene for the Falcons, his signature moment in that first season, overtime game against Minnesota. Go, Mike Vick, go was the call that you sometimes still hear as they play that back. He broke it for a touchdown to win that game, and it was the Vic era. Now we see RG3 with his signature moment against who? The Vikings, who were 4-1 coming into this game, a surprise team. They were rallying against the Redskins. They were coming back, a 3rd and 6, crucial play. If they didn't convert this, Minnesota maybe comes back to win this game. Instead, RG3 breaks off a 76-yard touchdown run. Where he just displayed all the skill, all the speed. So now that is what the Giants are going to be faced with this weekend. Remember, the Giants, with the impressive win over San Fran, still 0-2 in division, NFC East, losing to the Eagles, losing to the Cowboys. They're looking to get off the schneid there and not go to 4-3, but more importantly, getting a win in the division and keeping the Redskins at bay and the other teams. The Redskins now 3-3, Bob, and they beat your G-men 2 times last year without RG3. The Redskins' defense does not look as good as it did last year, so that's going to be a problem against the Giants. So we'll see what happens. That's going to be a good game this week. Patriots were stupid in Seattle. How about that?
You actually want to actually say that?
Stupid in Seattle, and it led for a sleepless night, I'm sure, or a sleepless flight home in the rain.
Yes.
The downpour. Did you know that there was a drought going on in Seattle?
No,
there had been like 80-something days without rain in Seattle until Sunday, which I found to be unbelievable that actually happened. But they finally had rain, and it rained hard.
Top of 6 to 1.
6 to 1. So the no-hitter's over, and my rant is probably going to come undone. Here comes the rally. The Yankees are going to come back and win this game, and then they're going to come back and pull a Red Sox and come back from 3-0 down like they did against the Yankees. Oh boy, I spoke too soon. You know, I did one time call a Yankee fan when the Yankees were losing 6-0 against the Braves in '96.
They did?
And they were down 2-0. That didn't work out so well.
We got 2 minutes.
So maybe we shouldn't have done this show this way. Keep your fingers crossed, Bob. We don't want this to happen this way. All right, Patriots blew it in Seattle, 23-10 lead. They couldn't get the first down to end the game, and they couldn't get the stop on defense that they needed. This is becoming a trend. They'll get the Jets this weekend, who, not surprisingly, that was the pick of the week. If you ask me, the Jets were going to beat the Colts, and they did just that. Colts with the emotional letdown. It's win 1 for the Gipper, not win 2 for the Gipper. They had their 1 with their coach out with illness against the Packers. Emotional letdown. And, they got a rookie quarterback, and they're not a great team. Jets took care of business, turnovers, threw the kitchen sink at them.
The Packers have not been doing Green Bay.
The Packers responded big time. In the AFC, there's only 2 teams over 500 right now, Bob. The Texans, who the Packers mauled, and the Ravens, who squeaked away a victory against the Cowboys, who really blew that game big time. The Ravens and the Texans play this weekend. That's a big game. In the NFC, 7 teams over 500, including 3 in the West. But the Cardinals have now lost 2 in a row after starting 4-0. So the Cards, Niners, Hawks all tied 4-2 in the way out west. Falcons, only undefeated team. They get a bye, and so do the Eagles, and then they play each other, Mike Vick and the Eagles, who just fired their defensive coach, and Andy Reid on the hot seat. Mike Vick's going to get a chance to knock off the Falcons, the undefeated team. Only 1 left. So that's going to be drama right there. We've run out of time.
Who's playing tonight?
It is the Seahawks versus the Niners at San Francisco. The Niners looking to get that bad taste out of their mouth. And Seattle looking to build on what happened last week. I am out of here, heading home to wish my wife a happy birthday and get her out to dinner because it is her birthday. Sometimes
happy
she tunes
birthday
in.
to your wife.
So if you're watching, I will be home soon. Happy birthday. We'll see you, everybody else, next week. And Bob will not be here because he will be at the Whalers. But we'll be here. And maybe the Yankees will not.
I hope so.
All right. See you next time.